Hello everyone, welcome to Screen Crush. I'm Ryan Arey. Here is every Easter egg that we found in Iron Man 2. Did you ever notice the apps on Tony Stark's phone? There's one for the Stark Expo, a tiny Iron Man logo, another one with a S.H.I.E.L.D. logo that could have given him a direct line to Nick Fury. Or maybe this was the app that Stark developed that allowed him to hack the S.H.I.E.L.D. database in the Avengers. Because to hack the US Senate screens, he uses the logo of the US Senate. And this app says Illuminati. This is a reference to the secret cabal of Marvel heroes who actually control the Marvel Universe behind the scenes. And this suitcase app with his footprint is probably connected to his suitcase armor because he activated it by stepping inside of it. In the opening scene, the camera pans across your standard creepy villain bulletin board decor, but what you might not have noticed is this newspaper article authored by Rob Down, a tribute to Robert Downey Jr. Also, among the clippings is this one, when he announced Stark Industries would no longer make weapons, and there's several covers from the awards show montage in Iron Man 1. Also, he was Time's Person of the Year. The movie originally began with Tony hungover and spewing into an airplane toilet.
Give me a little space.
If you're gonna spew into this.
Oh God, you don't want to see that.
Now, this deleted scene and the emphasis put on Tony's party is reminiscent of the Demon in a Bottle storyline from the comics, which focuses on Tony struggling with alcoholism. Tony's alcoholism is implied throughout the MCU, even when he says this famous line,
"Because if we can't protect the Earth, you can be damn well sure we'll avenge it."
He's holding a glass of brandy. The mixture that Tony is always drinking counteracts the palladium poisoning, and it's a metaphorical stand-in for his reliance on alcohol. Now, it was cut from the movie, but the guy selling Vanko a fake passport has a 10 Rings tattoo. That's the same group that kidnapped Tony in Iron Man 1 and will probably appear in Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings. Mickey Rourke made the decision to give Whiplash his signature cockatoo and gold teeth.
Want my bird?
Mickey Rourke actually paid for the bird and gold teeth out of his own pocket.
We got you the bird, pal.
This is not my bird.
The tattoo on his abdomen reads, "Give me a blonde, a bottle, and a boat, and I'll sail away," in Russian. Now this sounds a lot like pre-Iron Man Tony Stark.
Is it true you went 12 for 12 with last year's Maximum cover models?
That is an excellent question.
So this shows how much Tony and Vanko are alike. I mean, maybe if Vanko would have had Tony's privileged upbringing, he would have been the superhero. Originally, there was a tattoo on Vanko's neck of Loki, but that was removed to avoid any kind of confusion. Now, there's an internet rumor that this is an actual photo of Mickey Rourke in jail after he was arrested for a DUI. Now, I couldn't find the original photo, but he really was arrested for drunk driving on a Vespa. Do you find something comical about my appearance while driving my scooter? Olivia Munn plays reporter Chess Roberts, a character from the comics. She works for the reoccurring news channel WHIH. Now, this is way before she appeared as Psylocke in X-Men Apocalypse. At the time, Munn was actually best known for co-hosting Attack of the Show, so she was kind of the perfect choice for this cameo. Also, notice in this crowd that fans have one of the Iron Man repulsor bands that are worn by dancers at the expo. Kate Mara cameos as a U.S. Marshal looking for Tony. This was years before she would star in Fant, Force Stick, and House of Cards. This is Larry Ellison, CEO of Oracle, a computer technology company. The climax of the film takes place in the Oracle Pavilion. This boy in the Iron Man mask was later retconned to be young Peter Parker, and he's actually played by director Jon Favreau's son. Seth Green also makes a split-second appearance here. Gary Shandling, most famous for The Larry Sanders Show, plays Senator Stern.
Thank you, buddy.
Of course, later it's revealed that he was a member of Hydra, and that's why he wanted to acquire the Iron Man technology.
Priority is to get the Iron Man weapon turned over to the people of the United States of America.
Because no senator could ever just be evil, right? Tony also says,
I'm not a joiner, but I'll consider Secretary of Defense, if you ask nice.
And he actually had this job in the comics. And we see one of Hammer's suits crush the guy inside of it. Now, this was actually the wounded Air Force pilot that Dr. Stephen Strange refused to treat just before his accident.
I've got a 35-year-old Air Force colonel, crushed his lower spine in some kind of experimental armor.
Here you can see Tony's suitcase suit, which is how he actually pulled off his quick changes in the comics. He's watching the Senate hearings on YouTube. It's kind of weird to see the old website design there. And the videos queued up next are Iron Man extinguishing fires in California, saving a plane at LAX, and rescuing a submarine. Now, this boxing scene is a nod to Happy Hogan's career as a boxer in the comics. Tony meets Elon Musk in Monaco. Musk was nice enough to allow the film to shoot in a SpaceX hangar so that Hammer can try his darndest to impress Vanko. And by the way, Justin Hammer is always eating something sweet, like a lollipop or how he eats dessert before his meals. And just to emphasize his childish nature, he whines when he doesn't get his way and steals Vanko's stuff. Hammer also references
a book that would make Ulysses look like it was written in crayon.
Well, while he was writing Ulysses, James Joyce was going blind and he actually did write the book in crayon. Reporter Christine Everhart can also be seen in Iron Man 2 after her one-night stand with Tony in Iron Man. She and Sam Rockwell are married in real life. The character would make a reappearance as a WHIH anchor in a series of Twitter videos that led into Captain America Civil War.
Politicians, both domestic and internationally, suggest Steve Rogers, Tony Stark, and others bear some of the responsibility for the massive destruction and mayhem.
When Tony and Pepper are in Monaco, they have their photo taken. Now, this same photo can be seen in Stark Tower in the Avengers. On Vanko's passport, the fake name is Boris Turganov, and this also happens to appear on his pit crew jumpsuit in Monaco. In the comics, Boris was the second supervillain Crimson Dynamo. The first was Anton Vanko, Whiplash's father. One of the cars that gets flipped is sponsored by Roxxon, the MCU's reoccurring evil oil corporation. Tony Stark calls his suitcase armor the football. This is actually a reference to the nuclear football. This is a suitcase with the nuclear launch codes that follows the president wherever he goes. Tony's suitcase armor is silver and red in the movie because in the comics, the silver-red armor replaced his red and gold model. This screen gives us an idea of the global fallout after the racetrack fight. The Dow Jones has dropped, and the Department of Homeland Security has raised their threat level. And when they filmed the racetrack fight scene, Mickey Rourke had a hard time getting the rhythm of the whips right. So on the set, they played Gnarls Barkley's Crazy to help him get into rhythm. The DJ at Tony's party is DJ AM. Now, he tragically passed away before the movie came out. There's a small tribute to him in the film's credits. Notice how in this fight, Rhodey is wearing the Mark II armor. So in a way, Tony is fighting an older, more pure, unpainted version of himself, just as in the first movie, Obadiah wears a warped version of the Mark I suit, symbolizing that Tony was fighting his old, iron-mongering self. Now this observation comes from the channel Canadian Lad, who's definitely worth checking out. When they crash through the ceiling, notice that Natasha instinctually goes into a battle-ready defensive pose. Tony pays for strawberries with the watch that Obadiah Stane gave him in the first movie. And this whole scene with the thing on the desk, all of that was improvised.
And I just want to try to make good. Can I move this? This is crazy. It's like a Ferris wheel going. I'm trying to. Do you even speak Latin?
Felecis sunt rerum species.
This line translates to, the appearance of things are deceptive. Of course, foreshadowing to Latin professors in the crowd that she was a secret agent. According to filmmakers, Howard's trunk is another box of scraps that Tony uses to save his life, the same way he built an arc reactor to save his life in the first film. There's lots of cool Easter eggs in Howard's trunk, including a copy of the real-life Captain America #1 that we also see in First Avenger. And also, there's a prototype for Cap's shield. There's also a map of Antarctica, possibly referencing Namor the Submariner. Namor's father was a ship captain and his mother was an Atlantean, and they met in this area. Now here's a fun theory for you. What if Howard has this map because he took an expedition to Antarctica and he ends up being Namor's father in the MCU, which would make the Submariner the brother of Iron Man. Also in Howard's journal, you can see a drawing of the tesseract, which is why in the Avengers, he looks at the cube like he's seen it before. And it's stamped with Project Pegasus, the top secret group that studied the tesseract in Captain Marvel and the Avengers. The robe Tony wears when he looks through his dad's stuff is actually his dad's. Howard wears it in this Agent Carter one-shot. And this gets to me, Howard films a post-mortem video for Tony, just as Tony films one for his daughter.
I love you 3000.
Tony discovers a new element, but they never actually give it a name. Well, in the novelization, it was called vibranium.
I'm limited by the technology of my time, but one day you'll figure this out.
This implies that Howard Stark was trying to synthesize vibranium.
That's the rarest metal on Earth. What you're holding there, that's all we've got.
After his entire supply was buried with Captain America in the ice. Fury talks about the Southwest region and Coulson talks about New Mexico. They are referencing the events in Thor when the Thunder God arrived and tipped a whole town to a 45-degree angle. Marvel actually released a timeline that shows when the events in these movies take place. It's all in a single week that they call Fury's Big Week. It's pretty cool. The triangle on the new arc reactor on Tony's chest represents the Greek letter delta, which stands for change and transformation. Hammer's entrance song at the expo is Pick Up the Pieces by Average White Man, which was also in Favreau's debut film, Swingers. Animator Genndy Tartakovsky helped storyboard this film because Favreau was such a big fan of Samurai Jack. The oil that spurts out like blood from the drones are reminiscent of this scene from the beloved children's cartoon. During Tony's discussion with Nick Fury at the end of the movie, a screen is displaying news footage from the battle between the Hulk and the US Army at Culver University, as seen in The Incredible Hulk. And this map is loaded with Easter eggs. One of these locations is Wakanda, the secret nation ruled by Black Panther. There is also a spot highlighted in Greenland where Captain America has been frozen for 70 years. And this spot in the Atlantic could be the location of Atlantis, the home of Namor.
Mine are the most powerful arms above or below the sea.
And Namor could have also been foreshadowed by this line in Endgame.
Net. It's an earthquake under the ocean.
Well guys, that's all the Easter eggs we found. If you know of any more, let me know in the comments below. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe. For Screen Crush, I'm Ryan Arey.